I'm not really sure if you're ready for this, because I'm gonna tell you about 60-plus-year-old Granny Ripper. Oh, by the way, this video is an experiment that requires your full feedback. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gita Lighthouse, and if you didn't know, I'm that girl who covers different true crime and mysteries from Scandinavia. I do that basically because I moved to Norway and I'm interested in the area. But after the New Year's, I was sitting and thinking, well, how about the other countries where I have lived? For those who don't know, I'm actually coming from the Baltic states, and quite many years ago, I also had a chance to live in Russia for like 1.5 years. I'm not a spy though, I'm not, let's make that clear. And I also speak fluent Russian, almost like my mother tongue. This opens me a whole universe of different sources written in Russian. Therefore, I can translate them and tell you different true crime stories that are usually written in Russian and not available for English-speaking audience. If this video is a success, this is like a pilot video, then I'm gonna make a separate playlist on my channel which will be called From Russia with Crime, and there I'm gonna cover different crimes and mysteries from Russia. Don't worry, the Scandinavian stuff will remain as usual. It's just like an additional thing to my channel. So make sure to react, comment in the comment section so I understand whether I should continue this or not. Let's start. And this story, guys, hold on. The story I'm about to tell you today is a story about an elderly female serial killer who acted in Russia. So she was often referred to in media as Baba Yaga. So that's a Russian character for an old witch. Usually they use it to scare kids. So she was referred to as Baba Yaga, also as Granny Ripper and Psycho. Her name was Tamara Samsonova. She was born in 1947 in a small town of Uzhur in Krasnoyarsk region. Her father was a policeman and mother was working in sales. When she graduated school, she decided to take her chances and go to the great capital city of Moscow. And there she enrolled Moscow State Linguistic University. A little fast forward, she graduates from university and decides to work on her career. Until she meets a man. Yeah, there's always a man. She falls in love, allegedly falls in love, and follows her heart and moves with her man to St. Petersburg. Oh my god, that's a beautiful city. Like, side note, when I was living in Russia, I saw Moscow, as like everyone does when goes sightseeing there, but I really wanted to go to St. Petersburg and I didn't have a chance, so I still regret it because obviously now I'm not gonna go there, but oh my god, I hope everything changes in the world and I would really love to go there. By the way, if you didn't know, during that time, St. Petersburg was actually called Leningrad, and that was mainly during the Soviet times. So, as I said, Tamara moved with her new boyfriend to Leningrad, aka St. Petersburg, and after a while they separate. But she didn't stay single for a long time, and she finds another man. And in fact, it didn't surprise me because apparently our Tamara here, she was a popular girl. She was looking very good. Even like fast forward to the moment when she was on court, accused of all of her killings. At that time, she was 68. She looked nice. She had the figure, she had the hair, she had the posture. And during like all of her life, she was like, I'm intellectual, I'm beautiful, I'm stylish, you know, that kind of vibe. So it didn't surprise me that she found a new guy like this. So the guy's name differs in different sources. Some say that his name was Alexei, some say that his name was Leonid, but the fact is that his surname was Samsonov, hence Tamara became Samsonova because they got married. Mr. Samsonov was like an average Soviet guy. He worked in a machine repair factory. He was quite silent and shy. People described that he was that kind of guy who usually seeked for the dominance of the women, so he didn't like to make any decisions, so he liked the women to do that. And some even say that the dynamics between Tamara and him were like mother and son, so kind of sick, but well, if it worked for them. The young couple moved to a panel house. They had a 2-room flat there, and in Soviet times, it was quite popular to build these blocks with the panel houses. They were like 5-story houses, 9-story houses. And even I, coming from a post-Soviet country, I had a chance to live in one of these houses. So part of my childhood also happened in that kind of area. And just a side note, these houses weren't not the highest quality, like the lifts never worked and stuff. So yeah, that's just a part of Soviet aesthetics. Or Tamara here, she was quite a lucky girl because during Soviet times, working in a luxurious place, that was really hard to achieve. You had to have some kind of connections, but she found a job in one of the most luxurious hotels in St. Petersburg on the main street. The hotel's name at that time was Гостиница Европейский. It was something out of the ordinary during Soviet times, and even now this hotel has maintained its quality. It's a 5-star hotel that is now called Grand Hotel Europa. It's often referred to as one of the symbols of St. Petersburg. Some of the people who worked with her said that during that time when she met like some foreigners staying in the hotel, she kind of liked to tell stories that she's like an ex-ballerina or an actress because she always like positioned herself as something mysterious, intellectual and stylish. But in fact, she was just a guard of one of the floors of the hotel. And I think she got this job because she was a graduate of Moscow State Linguistics University, and she knew perfectly English, German, and of course her native Russian language. Allegedly, Tamara used the connections that she made in the hotel to create her own business. So Soviet time was the time when many things were not available for Soviet people. So if you wanted to have like jeans or something else stylish from the Western countries, you have to have connections with the people who knew where to get them, and Tamara knew. So for your perspective, during that time, quite often you could see like men on the streets walking with long coats, and they would approach you and then they open the coat. No, they weren't flashing. I know what you were thinking, but in the coat they had like a lot of stuff that was not available for the common people of Soviet Union. So then they usually ask the questions, are you interested? And then you would like buy some stuff that is very like not typical of Soviet Union, maybe more of a Western origin. And these goods were usually called дефицитные товары, which would mean like deficit goods. So now you have like the whole picture, and Tamara was doing that thing. A little bit later, allegedly, she also had some vodka business, so she was selling alcohol. So her mind worked very well. Now fast forward, it's year 2000 and Tamara's husband mysteriously disappears. So when she meets people on the street or neighbors or acquaintances, she tells stories about what she believes would have happened to the husband because he didn't come home. So she puts forward 3 options. The first one, he went out to take out cash and didn't return. The second option is that he had a lover, so he went away to live with his lover, so he left her. And the third option is that he died from cirrhosis because he liked to drink. None of these make sense, and I'm gonna prove you why. So the first option that she said, that he took out money and disappeared, it was discarded immediately because when the police came to the flat and searched the flat, they found this little book. Like in those times, they didn't have bank cards. They had like little books that you took to the bank and then you took out the cash. So this book was in the flat. So this means he didn't go to the bank. Second option about the lover, well, we don't know. But still, like, if he was present somewhere, up to nowadays, they would have found him somewhere, but he's not found up to nowadays. That's the thing. And the third option about cirrhosis, he died from it. Like, if a person dies, you most probably find somewhere his body or in a hospital or on the street or whatever. Doesn't make sense. And as I mentioned, up to nowadays, his body is not found, not a part of it, not a trace of it, nothing. This is a mystery up to nowadays. But of course, our Tamara is one of the main suspects in this. And believe me, this is only the beginning. So, after the husband died, she started to rent out the other room in her flat to get some extra cash. And the neighbors said that the people who rented out this other room were not staying around for a long time. Doo-doo-doo. So something was happening there. When the neighbors of Tamara were interviewed, they revealed that Tamara actually had some old people weirdnesses, as they said. For example, she was going around and telling neighbors that she hates that the people who are renting out the other room, they are using the same bathroom that she's using. Like, in short, she hates to take a shit where other people are also taking shit. That was her thing. And another neighbor came forward saying that during the night she liked to run up and down the stairs naked, wearing only boots. She also messed up with people's locks during the night. Then she accused neighbors of coming into her flat during the night when she was sleeping, which didn't make sense at all. Then she also mentioned that she hates that the neighbor's dog is walking too loud on the floor and it doesn't allow her to sleep. So she was like messed up in her head. Of course, it was too hard for the neighbors in the house, so they started to collect signatures to put Tamara into psychiatric hospital, and it worked. They really managed to do that. However, Tamara was back from the psychiatric hospital after a couple of months, and everything started again. And again, I just have to say that it gets even crazier from here. So bear in mind, disappearance of husband, disappearance of couple of people who were renting her other room in the flat. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. So, Tamara didn't have any relatives. She was basically alone. But she had some friends, and one of her closest friends, who now and then visited her, was an elderly granny who was living in the neighboring house, and her name was Valya. She was described as a kind-hearted lady who usually helped everyone who needed, like whenever somebody needed money or, I don't know, just a nice word to say during the day, she was there. And she kind of took care of Tamara. She came, she took care of the house, she talked to her, so she was kind of like a bestie to Tamara. I'm not sure about the background, but this Valya, she was on the record of social workers, so they were now and then checking on her. So whatever she was doing, she had to check in with the social workers. So one day, Tamara tells Valya, you know, I'm planning to renovate my flat, but I don't have any place to stay while this renovation is taking place. Since we're besties, can I stay for like a couple of months with you in your flat? And of course, Valya had to tell about that to the social workers and inform that her friend is coming in. And they said, all right, yeah, it's noted, she can move in. So Tamara moves into Valya's flat to stay there for a couple of months. But she didn't leave after a couple of months. She actually stayed there for like 6 or 7 months and apparently wasn't planning actually to go away. She said that she's attached to this place and she feels uncomfortable leaving it or whatever. She invented some like crazy things to tell to Valya why she cannot leave. And of course, this raised a lot of disagreements between both of the ladies because, as we remember, Tamara here was a complicated woman. She had her old lady weirdnesses, and can you imagine living with that kind of person each and every day? I don't even know, like I didn't find any sources if she's taking some kind of medicine for her mental health, but it must be very crazy for this Valya lady. Even though she's her best friend, it is hard. And I believe that Valya couldn't simply say anything to Tamara because she had this authority, she had this personality where she kind of made this pressure that Valya couldn't do anything and Tamara just stayed there. And one day, surprise, surprise, or Valya disappears, just like the ex-husband of Tamara. So one day the social workers were calling to Valya's flat to check in and inform that they're gonna visit the flat and to see how Valya is doing. And the phone was picked up by Tamara. And she said, all right, yes, you can come. And when they came, the doors were of course opened by Tamara. And she said that, oh, well, Valya is not home. She went away. She will not be here today. She promised to call social workers until when Valya is back. And she does this and tells that, well, you know, this week Valya is not coming back because her friend deceased and she's on the funeral, so she's gonna be back in a couple of days. These couple of days pass, social workers are calling again. We want to see Valya, is she home? And Tamara says that, well, you know, Valya got sick while she was on funeral, so she stayed there, and when she gets well, she will come back and then you can come and see her. I mean, You don't have to be stupid to understand that Tamara is covering up something. Valya, where is Valya? Why Tamara is acting so weird and lying to social workers? Now, the last time when Tamara was calling social workers to inform about Valya, she said the following, like, in the morning I saw that Valya had bought 2 bottles of vodka. She apparently got drunk and fell asleep on the kitchen floor. But I didn't want to wake her up. I went out to do my errands. And when I came back, she had already disappeared. So I don't know where she is. And I think she thought that she will get through with this. No, people started to look for Valya, and wow, so many things came out. Just hold on, this is so crazy. After some serious discoveries were made, Tamara finally said, yes, I killed Valya. And I did it in the following way. I will quote. I bought 2 bottles of vodka and a plastic box with salad. Then I bought sleeping pills. I told the pharmacist that I cannot sleep, and the doctor does not give me a prescription, and they gave me some. Well, I do look stylish and intellectual. I crushed the pills in a coffee grinder, added to the salad, because I read somewhere that in this way you cannot feel the taste of it because of the onion and mayonnaise. This is why I also gave her vodka. While Valya was eating and drinking, I slept. When I woke up, she was already dead. Tamara apparently, I guess, understood that she will not be able to kill Valya with some physical strength, because Tamara was a tiny and skinny lady and Valya was quite a lot. She was a corpulent lady, so if she would have used physical strength, Valya could have just swiped her off the feet. So she chose to poison her. And the way how she got rid of the body, this is like a complete horror. Tamara took a knife and a saw. She cut all the pieces of her body and put them in plastic bags. Some sources say that she just wrapped them in curtains. And then there is this thing, I don't know why she did it. Some sources said that she took her arms that she cut off and boiled them in a huge pot. Why? I don't know. And then she took all of these plastic bags or curtain wraps, I don't know what was the real case, and she just took them out and put them outside by the trash bin. And all of this was actually filmed and can be seen afterwards on the surveillance camera in the yard. Now, nobody, of course, was suspicious that there by the trash bins there are these bags that are full of Valya. After a while, of course, there was a smell, and the neighbors who were walking their dogs started to notice that the dogs got very impatient while passing these bags, and when they got closer, some limbs of Valya fell out of those bags. So this is how she was found. The police, of course, was called out. They started to investigate, and according to the body parts, they recognized that they belonged to Valya. When the police went up to Valya's flat, they meet Tamara there. She didn't even try to escape. She was just sitting there like nothing had happened. They enter the flat and they see everything. There are blood stains all around because she was dismantling the body. There are fingerprints, and you can see everything that happened there. And Tamara didn't even fight. She was taken to the police for the custody. But remember, Tamara also had her own flat that she said that she will renovate, and this is why she asked to move to Valya's house. Well, spoiler alert, she wasn't renovating anything. That was just a thing that she invented. So the police also went to that flat to see if there are some things that they could pick up and relate to the case. And they found Tamara's diary. It appears that Tamara was writing a diary very regularly. Many sources say that in that diary, Tamara had described another at least 10 murders that she had done during the last 10 or 15 years. And she had described everything that she had done during those murders in 3 languages that she knew: English, Russian and German. Also, some sources say that there were things that were written in with codes in that diary, but it's all alleged. But of course, somehow the media picked up this news piece and created like huge stories of Baba Yaga, Granny Ripper, Psycho. This is where she got the nicknames from the media. The articles were like, an elderly lady kills tens of people, and they also speculated that she killed her husband in the same way as she did with Valya, only the body parts were buried, and this is why up to nowadays they haven't found the husband. But the police later came out and said that the media had misunderstood the message about the diary, that this diary did not in fact include a description of other murders. It was just like some kind of things that a crazy lady was writing down, and you cannot consider that as a serious description of murders. And then when another interrogation was taking place with Tamara, she confessed of killing another person, and that other person was some guy who was renting out the room in her flat. So she said that she killed that person in the same way as she did with Valya, so she poisoned him, then just dismantled the body parts, put them in trash bins, and she carried around them in the block by different houses, like scattered around in the area. Of course, police checked on it, and then they find that yes, there was a case where they found bags with body parts in different parts of the area, and they couldn't find who is guilty of killing this guy. And now Tamara confessed, and it just made sense. And as I read, they also found some, I guess it was DNA evidence, which could literally tie this case to Tamara. So they were sure that this was Tamara. She actually did it. A little bit later, Tamara also confesses in killing another man who was kind of her suitor, but they couldn't find any evidence about this confession, so it just stands like that because there is no evidence, but she confesses. The chief detective who was dealing with Tamara's case actually said about her, "Not every day I get the chance to talk to a murderer who tells and also gets pleasure from being listened." In the court, Tamara acted really weird. She was mumbling, moving around, then she bowed, sent some like kisses like this, then she applauded, acted on the camera and stuff. In the court, and I listened pieces of what she was saying, she said that actually she did this because she was forced to do that by another maniac killer. "I was tortured by maniac. She made me do the kills. She abused me. She is a doctor. She hit me, cut me, and asked me to do whatever she wanted." In quite many of the entrances of her diary, Tamara actually said that she has problems with sleeping, and in some cases she also mentions that there is a lady always waiting for her in the room, and apparently that lady was the one who was the maniac who asked her to do the things. But of course, considering her mental health, all of this could be just the fruit of her imagination. And at the end of the court, she actually said that she would really love to go to the prison to stay alone with her thoughts. On July 29th, 2015, Samsonova was brought to the Frunze District Court of St. Petersburg. She underwent a forensic psychiatric examination, and on November 26th, 2015, the results determined that she was a danger to society and herself and has schizophrenia. In December 2015, Samsonova was sent for compulsory psychiatric treatment in a specialized hospital in Kazan. Also, just wanted at the end to mention a thing about Tamara, that she was a huge fan of another quite famous Russian serial killer, Chikatilo. If you haven't heard about him, I can make a video. I mean, quite many know about him. He's the one that's usually also quite known among English speakers because quite many YouTubers also have covered the case of him. This guy was called the Butcher of Rostov, so he was also very violent, and maybe she got inspired by him. And also, Tamara was very interested in occultism, so all of this may be messed up with her logics because she was also mentally ill. Now, guys, what do you think about this case? I am quite puzzled because, of course, she is guilty. She murdered some people, and we don't actually know the number of how many people she has killed. And maybe we will never learn about that in general because she cannot kind of formulate her thoughts normally, therefore the police cannot find all the clues. Did she kill 10? Did she kill 13? Or was it just husband, the neighbor, and maybe the other one that she mentioned, the suitor? We don't know. But she, of course, was dangerous. And in my mind, I think the social workers could have prevented the murder of Valia because Tamara was already on the record of psychiatric hospital, and if they had dug up some facts about Tamara, who was wanting to move into Valia's flat, they would have learned that she's actually a little bit like mental and maybe would not have allowed her to move into Valia's flat. I guess that's the crucial point where social workers could have done a little bit better work and could have prevented the murder of Valia. Let me know what do you think about this Granny Ripper, about this case in general. And of course, the main thing, let me know if I should continue with these Russian cases. I would be very happy to do that. I'm especially interested in murders and mysteries happening during the Soviet time and in the 90s, because I think that's one of the most exciting times that could be covered in regards to this topic. See you in the comments section. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because you don't want to miss the things that I'm telling you. You don't. See you next time.